What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Rawstocks. This is Rustic. Today we're going to be taking a look at Tesla's chart. We're going to take a look at where price came from, where price ended today, where price is likely to head into the close of the week tomorrow. Then we can make some forecasts as where price possibly will head into next week. So before we get going, don't forget to smash a like, subscribe, share with all your friends. Really helps get the Rawstocks name out there. A lot of you guys know we're a pretty new YouTube and a pretty new Discord. So all the support we can get is really helpful for getting our name out there. So there's some links in the description below, some ways you can support the channel, social media links where you can find me, as well as the Discord links. Running a special right now, 7 days free on the premium membership, which includes the Rawstocks callouts, which we did pretty well this week. Quite a few 50% and higher options callouts on Tesla, and we're trying to broaden our horizon a little bit by adding maybe some additional tickers into some of the callouts and some of the analysis. So let's dive into the charts. As you can see on the daily chart, nice breakout candle, right? We had a nice rejection wick here on the FOMC meeting, where we saw a bottom, we saw a rally up. We got our 21 SMA here. We cracked it into close yesterday, gapped it today, rallied up. Pretty bullish move. I'm not going to lie, this does look bullish. Starting to look more and more bullish as we see things develop. The fact that we wicked this high, what I want to see tomorrow is I want to see a candle come up, and I want to see us close above 252.74 or give or take. Doesn't need to close above today's wick. I just want to see it close above this candle. This level from this previous candle high. If we close above that price, I'm pretty confident we're going 255, 259, then we'll call it 260, and then up into this order block here with some of the higher time frame liquidity up in the 260s, mid 260s. I don't think we're going to go all the way to 278, 280, but we could get up there. I do think that the likely target is this order block right here. We'll take out these two little small fair value gaps. There is I think there's a 15-minute unbalanced price range in there somewhere that we could look at on the lower time frame charts. But again, that's if we get a candle close tomorrow above 252.74. I'm pretty bullish at that point that we're going to run up and take out this liquidity. Now, if we don't close above today's closing price, maybe we start trading down. It doesn't take the bull case scenario off the table, but what we'll be watching for clues is tomorrow is going to give us a fair value gap inside of here. Regardless, unless price closes below this wick low, which is 240.38, which we could give back the entire candle. But unless we close below this, there will be a fair value gap in here. Now, at that point, what I'll be watching for is for that fair value gap to end up pushing us up into this liquidity, and then we'll come back down and take that fair value gap out, or at least trade back into it like we did in this candle here into this fair value gap, or like we did in this fair value gap where we pushed up and then back down. So I would imagine tomorrow will give us our fair value gap, and then we'll see a push up and then back down into that fair value. We might chop around from there. We might fall further. We might head higher. We'll see at that point. But I am interested in seeing where price opens and where we wick down to, if we trade back up, or where we trade down to into close, and that will give us our fair value gap. Then I'm looking for the bigger move to happen going into next week. So we could get a nice breakout candle, and that will leave a nice fair value gap in there, and then we could continue to break out. Let's just look at a hypothetical situation. Let's say price, let's say the wick of tomorrow ends up somewhere inside of this candle. We'll have a fair value gap right here somewhere. I mean, depending on how far the wick goes down. Again, as long as we don't give back the whole candle. So we'll have a candle here. We'll have a wick, right? We'll have our candle, whatever it looks like. And from that point, we'd be looking for price to, again, like I said, drive up here. It could be tomorrow, it could be into next week. Drive up if that's going to be the play. So again, very interested in seeing the fair value gap get laid tomorrow and what tomorrow's candle has to offer. You can see the RSI started pointing up. We've been kind of just hitting around this 50, trading above the 50, but just hitting around it. Keep looking like it's going to drop, just like here. Keep looking like it's going to drop, look like it's going to drop, look like it's going to drop. One more fake out, clearly like that was a nice fake out, and then bam, we just ripped it. You never know when that rip's going to happen, but this is multiple weeks. I mean, this is a whole month, 4 weeks worth of trading, that every time it dropped, bears thought it was going deeper. Every time it ripped, bulls thought it was going, higher, just to have it drop again. So we played the chop pretty well, I think, as far as the callouts go on the Discord. But now we are accelerating to the upside. So I want to see this level here broken and hold 252.74. Other things we got going on, we got our auto trend line. That's just this guy to this high here. We broke out. There's some other trend lines you could look at and say maybe we have broke out of that one as well. And then if you look at the final trend line that you might want to take a look at is this high over here to this high here, which we haven't broken out of yet. So that will be our full confirmation that the downtrend is over. But depending on how quickly we get there, it's going to be in the 270s down to the mid to low 260s. So if we get there quickly, we could come up, hit 268, 270, take this liquidity, reject that, and come back down deep. There's always a possibility because it is still in a downtrend. And if it rejected it again of this overall downtrend, that would still be bearish until we break that. Once we break this, this is the all-time high, right? Tested it, didn't get to it, tested it, right? So you would expect, now that we've seen this nice bullish move, because this is all fairly bearish moves, right? Now we're seeing this bullish move. We see a correction, right? This is what appears to be, and Elliott waves can be discredited all the time, but this appears to be something like this. And if that's the case, we're going to see this high taken out here. We're going to see that trend break. It's going to go up above 300. Could keep running. You never know. Fifth waves could truncate. They could come a little lower. They can take the high just perfectly. They can tear through it a little bit, or they can rip, right? The only rule to Elliott wave is that wave three can't be the shortest, but we can already see here that between wave 1 and wave 2, wave 3 is longer than wave 1. So Elliott wave rule met there. Okay, we break this high. It's 5-wave count. After that, you'd be looking for a corrective pattern, which would be something like that. And then you'd be looking for another additional 5-wave move to the upside. Okay, so for you bulls, this should be very exciting. We need to break this trend line. We need to break this level here. Okay, and then our correction would probably come again. It would probably come back down to test this level. Okay, and then take it out by a little bit. And then we'd see a smart money reversal here, where we'd see then this break this level here. And then we'd eventually break this level here. So that's just a rough drawing of what could happen. But it's something to get excited about if we break this trend line here. I'll take those off. And we'll keep this trend line on there. You can see also to the downside, if we were to start moving to the downside, say this was just a move to draw on liquidity here, steal the stops up in this high, right? Because we did set that high. So say this was a move to just steal the stops, another fake out, right? We got a fake out here, boom, up there. What would that look like? It would look something like, us coming back down like that. Now at this point, again, with our 21 SMA being over, price being over that significantly right now, we might come back down to test it. That could bring us all the way down to 240, 241 on the daily time frame, which could be tomorrow, could be next week. Doesn't mean we have to test it. We could just run off of it, and the SMA will start rapidly inclining. But we could come back down and test it, see a bounce, and then potentially break it if we were going to be dropping. So we'll be watching this 21 SMA as well. And we know to the downside we have lots of liquidity targets. All these red lines are high time frame liquidity targets. So they don't all come from the daily time frame. Some of them are on the 15-minute and the 1 hour time frames, but that's what all these are. I'm a day trader, so I'm watching the 15-minute and the 1 hour specifically. And then you can see all the green lines above. We got our liquidity targets to the upside as well. Let's check out the 1 hour time frame. Let's take this path off. So if you're just looking at the most recent premium to discount zone, again, you can see that move that happened on Wednesday. Went all the way from the bottom all the way to the top, just massive impulse move. A lot of times when we see those massive impulse moves, like we saw it, let's find another one that's a good example of a bottom to a top. Like this one. Okay, same kind of deal. Bottom, straight to the top. Right, but let's look at that. Bottom, straight to the top. Okay, so that's similar here, but look what happened when we got to the top. Okay, we got to the top, we dinked around, we ripped up, we dinked around, we ripped up. And you can see on the RSI, right, we ripped up, we set divergence on the final rip. And we still even came and set a higher high right here as we got a multiple point divergence on the RSI there. So if we're looking at this here, okay, we got our rip up, right? That's here and here. We dinked around in both those spots. We got our big candles here that set our RSI. We came back up. Next big candles, right? We're dinking around. We'll watch this RSI to see if tomorrow it sets a lower high, setting up a higher high on price, a lower high on RSI divergence. That's what we'll be watching for. But again, just like over here, our multiple point divergence went from 236 all the way up to 247. So still a $10 move on the 1 hour chart with this divergence setting up here. So $10 move would put us all the way up to 260. It'd be a nice move. Totally on the table. Right? We will have to see. It wasn't strong that we couldn't finish any candles today above this high. We saw a nice rejection wick, and we saw price come back down, kind of toy around. If we can't do that quickly tomorrow, I'm not so sure it's going to happen. Again, we could easily fall back. We got our 1 hour 21 SMA right here, 245, right? Price could come back down and test that early, see if it wants to hold, and then potentially rally off that, or just fall below it as the 21 SMA will roll over. We'll come back down and we'll test this 231 to 229 level where there's a nice order block, see if it wants to hold again as support where we've seen similar levels in here. So more time will reveal whether this was just a big trap, or if price wants to continue to head higher. 2 order blocks of importance right here at 266, and then right here starting at 231. So we're kind of near the middle of that ish, pretty close to the equilibrium of these 2 order blocks. So anything could happen right now. Again, 1 hour overextended. Daily looks good. Weekly looks good. Looks like we could see some more rallying. But that doesn't mean it happens. Definitely doesn't mean it happens. Need to see candles close above 251.61, 251.70, whatever, give or take a couple pennies. But we need it to close above this high to solidify the run up to the 260s and higher. Check out the 15-minute chart. Rip up, dink around, rip up, kind of forming a bull flag type of deal. RSI is giving up a little bit on the 15-minute. Got these 15-minute fair value gaps. So we see set, price runs up, set, price continues to run up through it, set another one, price rallies off of it. We do have a 15-minute order block that we could see price pop up to and then reject it. I thought we were going to maybe run today. We'll call it a fail to deliver. Might come up back for it. Might just come down a little bit and then go back up for it, and then make a decision at that point on a lower time frame where price wants to go. But again, we got the 230, 231 order block. We got the 255 order block. Closest to this one. Would be really surprised if we didn't take it before we came back down, if we were going to cycle back down. But we saw, multiple points, not divergence, but just continue to rip up. Here we got relative equal highs on our RSI, where then we started to see price come back down again. So again, a lot's going to hinge tomorrow. We got OPEX, we got options expirations, we got, but oftentimes it's not a big market mover with those options expirations. So I don't anticipate huge moves tomorrow, but with the momentum, we definitely could get a big move. Just not expecting it. More likely it might come Monday or Tuesday next week. Even more probably Tuesday or Wednesday if we're going to set highs on those days instead of lows. And last, I want to show you guys Silver Bullet. Silver Bullet today would have been a little bit harder to trade. I did not trade the Silver Bullet. I was trading something other than Tesla today. Did grab a 270 Lotto for, I think it's for next week. Pretty cheap. It was like $80. So just in case we go running, I think it even went almost 50% today. Didn't end up closing it. Just because it's a little bit of a hedge against some other positions I got, just in case price runs quick and then drops after that. But if you're looking at the Silver Bullet, it was a directional day coming off the news. So you would say your bias is bullish because we opened above closing price the previous day. Not typically what I like to see where we had London pre-market. Normally I like to see a manipulation that is more clearly defined. This barely took the lows, came down, came back down, set some double bottom here, or equal lows in this 1 minute order block, and then started to run right at market open, right? So that's not exactly what I like to usually see during a Silver Bullet setup, but we do have a daily bias bearish or bullish. And with that momentum from yesterday, you could expect more upside. So what you'd be looking for in this Silver Bullet setup, if you were trying to trade it today, is that you had your bias figured out, and then you're looking for running into the Silver Bullet macro. We're looking for one of the smart money entries is a return to a fair value gap. So we ran up, we returned to a fair value gap. And what are you going to target? You're going to target previous highs or high time frame liquidity targets. So let's take a look, see if we can find on like a 15-minute chart where we have a high time frame liquidity target relative to our Silver Bullet time frame. So it's going to be about right here. So if you were trying to set your high time frame liquidity targets, you'd be looking at potentially these wicks right here, and then you'd be looking at these equal highs here, and you'd be looking at these equal highs here. So those could be, or you could also look at the 1 hour chart, because again we're looking at both high time frame liquidity targets. And when you're trading the Silver Bullet, you want to be looking at a 15-minute and 1 hour. So we got liquidity here, and then we have liquidity up here. So there's your highs. Okay, now you drop back into the 1 minute, and you're going to want to, if you're doing this, you're going to want to be preparing this ahead of time. And then let's also put one there. So you're going to want to be looking at these much before the Silver Bullet actually happens. You're going to want to be setting up these high time frame targets, during pre-market or even the night before, if you plan to trade the Silver Bullet. Okay, so here we have our liquidity targets drawn out. And we have one here, and we have one here. So if you're entering in the fair value gap, instead of just targeting this right here, right? Because if you're going to use at least your 2 to 1, and say grabbing here, right? If we were only targeting the previous high there, let's see where our stop loss would need to be. Our stop loss could be all the way down here, and that would have been a $1.70 move, right? But this liquidity target is going to be off the board because we could at least target this previous high. Now, if you were targeting additional previous highs, that's a $3.86 move, even if you didn't get perfect entry. Okay, and then if you were to use a previous low as your stop loss, would have been a $1 move down or a $3.86 move up, which is a 3.38 RVR. Or if you targeted the next liquidity level up, right, is a $4.24 move, which that then becomes a 3.89. And as your trade starts to run in your favor, you can move your stop loss up. But you can see we hit that liquidity target by a little bit. We ended up coming back down. And then if you ultimately held, you hit both the additional liquidity targets, which in total, if you held the whole thing, would have been a $7.26 move or a 6.66 RVR. So hopefully that's been helpful. Look forward to trying to trade the silver bullet tomorrow with you guys in the trading rooms. So we'll see you on the next one, and thank you guys for all the support. Again, don't forget to smash a like, subscribe, help out the channel, support in any way you can. I really appreciate all you guys for all the support we've been getting. And we're only about 70 members, a little over 70 YouTube subscribers away from giving away some free Rawstocks merchandise. So hopefully we get there soon. I'm really eager to give away a t-shirt or a tank top to a lucky subscriber. So I'll talk to you guys on the next one, and see you then.